What's up, friends? It's James Nguyen with the Alpha Red Comic Channel. Welcome to What's Up Wednesday. And it's Wednesday, and that's what's up. So I'm trying something new with maybe trying to bring on some guests. And I am determined, friends, to make this StreamYard work because I paid for it. And doggone it, it's going to work out the way that I want it to work out. So I'm going to bring Ray MacKay back in. And because when he was here on Monday, I was talking all over him, and it's painful to rewatch for me because every time I thought he was freezing, it was actually me who was freezing. So hopefully the bugs have been worked out. I'm trying a new setup. I don't have that second screen that was causing a little bit of problems. So hopefully we're tracking on all three, and we'll check it. Somebody will let us know, right? Somebody will let us know. Let me hit this button here. And without further ado, let's bring on the writer of Alpha Red number 6, Mr. Ray MacKay. What's going on, Ray?
Hi, everyone. Not a lot, just hanging out here with you, excited to talk some comics.
That's right. It's a good place to be. Good place to be on a Wednesday night for a college student trying to make his way in the comic book world. So on Monday, as I was talking over you, you said that you were a hockey player, you're from Canada, and you want to be a writer. What else are we missing about Mr. Ray MacKay?
Well, the hockey player statement almost feels a little disingenuous right now because I joined an intramural hockey team at my college, but we actually didn't make it into sort of the pool. So I'm registered, but I don't have any games. So I've ended up joining a soccer team, which is a new experience for me.
Yeah, I don't hear about many Canadian soccer players. Not a big sport up there?
It's big-ish. Like my cousin actually is going to a Canadian university on a soccer scholarship, and I know a couple guys on my local college team who are there on scholarships. It's big. It's not like hockey big, but it's
okay.
It's a pretty.
It's a thing. Okay. Yeah. So we're here to talk about comics. So I'm not sportsy at all. I got 2 left feet, and thankfully I have one talented right hand that gets me some attention. But here we're talking about comic books, and we're talking about how you got into comics, why you want to write comics, and stuff like that. So why don't you start? Maybe tell us what your first comic book was, or your first comic book memory, whether it was one that was given to you that you got, or you were allowed to look at, or whatever. I don't know if you remember that issue. Take us through that first initial seed being planted.
Wow, it's interesting you ask that because I can tell you what the first comic book I ever read.
Wow.
I can tell you what my exact first superhero comic was.
Okay.
And it was the first superhero comic, actually. Action Comics #1.
Okay. Nice.
So what happened is when I was born, a friend of my dad's found out he was having a son, and she gave him volumes 1 and 2 of the Superman Chronicles, which are reprints of the original Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster Superman comics. And basically said, your son will like these. They're superhero comics. And my parents would read these to me and sort of show me the photos as I was young, and I more or less learned to read thanks to Superman comics. And then those Superman comics reprint Superman's appearances from World's Finest. And on those World's Finest covers, Batman would be there. So I jumped from those original Superman comics to the original Bob Kane and Bill Finger Batman comic. And I'm not sure if you've read those, but they are very interesting to sort of see Batman in his original incarnation versus sort of how he is today, because like he has a gun, he's shooting people, he's very much his origins as a character sort of that was influenced by the shadow really shows sort of more of a dark, calculating creature of the night.
Yeah. So I've seen comparisons of the original Batman versus the original Shadow, and it looks like Mr. Bob Kane borrowed a lot from the Shadow, down to
Yeah.
the things in the laboratory, the shapes of machines or whatever, and the look of everything and everybody. So yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So so how old were you when you came across those initial comics?
Man, Superman, couldn't tell you. They were a gift when I was born. They've just sort of always existed for me.
Yeah.
Batman, I think I got those around my 9th birthday. I
Okay.
remember reading them. It was really funny. Me and my cousins all got like comics on my birthdays, like little sort of party favors. It was just me and the three of them at my birthday.
Sure.
And I remember getting like the Batman Chronicles because I was sort of the oldest of the group. So I got sort of the most adult ones where Batman's like shooting people and fighting vampires and everything
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Oh, so when did you transfer from being just a consumer, a fan of the comics to thinking, hey, maybe I could write these things one day?
Well, and forgive me if I haven't told you this, but I used to draw comics a lot. Like it used to be like this. I used to get in trouble a ton at school for I would be doodling on my homework. I'd be doodling on my quizzes. I'd be doodling in my notebooks. Like it was like I still have a lot of my homework from high school because I'm like, that's a really good drawing of Captain America socking the Red Skull. I don't want to throw that out. Or that mask is drawn really well. I should keep that in case I ever want to use it for something else.
Yeah, you should scan them in. You should scan them in and send them my way. I need to see some Ray MacKay artwork here. I don't think. I've heard you describe that you drew in other interviews. I think I've watched one or two that you've done before, and you've mentioned it, but I don't think we've discussed your artistic skills.
Well, I'll have to send you the one I did when I was in grade 12, just graduating high school, which was sort of like a school passion project where I wrote, drew, inked, and lettered like a 22-page sort of slice of life, sort of Archie meets Big Nate meets Blankets, which was a book I had just read and like amazing, very much influenced. I tried to draw a lot of it with a brush, which is what the artist of Blankets did, and I kind of butchered it, but it was a fun experience.
Okay. But, so here we are. You graduated high school. You're in college for writing. So you said you're not just concentrating on comic book writing, but you're like a playwright. You're doing all kinds of other stuff, prose, right? You're trying to write novels and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that journey, because we're on a truncated timeline, because I didn't realize that Pacific time was 3 hours behind and not 4. So I scheduled this, and then I got to jump on a live stream at 9:30. So just give us a little truncated version, and then we'll go into a little bit about you and Alpha Red number 6, and then we'll answer the question, indie versus mainstream. Who is going to save comic books? So a little bit about what you're doing in college and what you want to do with that degree that you're trying to get.
Wow. Well, that's a great question. And honestly, I'm in a writing program at school right now, and unfortunately, there's no writing for comics class. Mm-hmm. It's sort of split into like 4 major streams. There's screenwriting. They call it fiction writing, but it's basically prose. There's playwriting, and there's poetry. And you have, in your second year, you have to take 2 of those classes. And I wanted to take fiction and screenwriting, of course, because those are, in my opinion, kind of the cooler ones, at least to me. But what they do at my university in the writing program is they've scheduled screenwriting and fiction writing at the same time. That way you have to choose between the 2. You can either do screenwriting or fiction writing. And they're such small classes, and they're in such high demand. I was waitlisted for both of them because so many people got in, and as you progress through the years, you get higher priority. So I was very lucky just to get into a second-year fiction class.
Okay.
in my second year, and I had to take another one, so I took playwriting because there were spots available in that.
Okay.
And I've kind of ended up growing to like playwriting. I've written a couple of plays. Now, nothing's become of them, but it's a bit of a different medium where you really get to sit with characters and sort of explore them, and like you really get to explore characters, which I hope has helped my comic writing.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten a chance to sort of write more fully formed characters in playwriting.
Yeah. So how many comic books have you written so far? Because when you sent me stuff and asked me if I needed a writer, you came at me with not a full comic that you wrote for Big Bang, and then you had like 3 or 4 other pretty much completed short stories. I thought somebody who could stick with it and produce a comic is worthy of taking a chance on. So that's why I took a chance on you. So how many do you have under your belt? And not counting Alpha Red yet, how many do you have?
Well, thank you for starters, again, for taking a chance on me with Alpha Red. I really appreciate it. And if we're going by strictly published comics, because I've got like dozens of scripts that I've written that are like in production or sort of we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm just going to minimize this screen here so I can actually just check my list, because I have a little list of what I've done so I don't forget. And my published work includes I did a illustrated prose story for an issue of Big Bang Comics. Then I have the full-length comic Megaton Chemical Warfare from Big Bang Adventures number 24. Then we've got Night Watchman, Beware the Grey Gremlin from Big Bang Adventures number 27, which was such a cool experience because I grew up reading Night Watchman comics, absolutely loved them, and I got the privilege of getting to co-create with Gary Carlson a new enemy for the Night Watchman, the Grey Gremlin.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we've got the Atomic Thunderbolt issue 0 from Grok Comics, which has just come out, which I'm really excited about. And then I've done several short horror comics for Eerie magazine, which is spelled Eyrie, in sort of an interesting version of that. And I've done about 5 or 6 sort of short horror comics for them. And that might be the extent of my comics that are published at the moment, but I've got quite a few things that are in development, and I've had quite a few prose stories published both in an anthology and some online, and I've also done some magazine editing and sort of article writing, which I'm pretty proud of.
Okay, cool. So Brian says that I thought James was the everything on Alpha Red. I have been up until this point, but Brian, I ran into a writer block wall, and I just couldn't get the beats to match the story that I had in my head for the next arc for Alpha Red. And young Ray MacKay was knocking on my door, and I asked him to help me with my story, to help me with the beats of my story. And I could feel like he wasn't feeling the kind of story that I was trying to explain to him, or didn't, or I think you said you felt like it was a story that you felt that I needed to write, and so you didn't want to touch the little pieces that I had thrown at you. So I said, you know what, just throw some pitches at me. And within like 3 hours, you threw me 3 plot lines, and I said, all 3 are great. They're fun. They're moving in the direction that I would prefer. I was moving in a darker direction, and I was trying to make it light, but it couldn't be light. And so Alpha Red number 6 is going to be fun, action-packed, all ages, kind of whatever I did to it, whatever I took from yours, and then added some Jamesness to it. So that's why Ray is here. So
and I do have to say, or sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I just wanted to highlight Brian's recognition of Eerie.
Yeah, Eerie's a great magazine. I've done some absolutely wild, like, short horror stories for them that, it's crazy. It's kind of like I pitched to you, like, for one of the issues of Eerie, I pitched like 6 ideas, and I sort of got, these are good, try again. And I did, and I came up with something that I honestly don't think has been done before. So I was pretty proud of that. But back on the story you originally approached me with for Alpha Red 6.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see how you approach that one. Like, you'll have to let me know how it goes as it's going, because I think that will be very interesting when it comes out. But I really do think that's your story, and I'm worried I just wouldn't be able to get it right if I sort of just like put myself into it. Like, okay, how can I do this? Because you mentioned it's a very sort of Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, there's a scene. I mean, a part of an element of it is a Silence of a Lamb-ish, like one of the characters has been jailed and he was possessed and whatever, and they are Alpha Red has to extract information out of him, so it feels like and that he keeps going back. Alpha Red keeps going back for more clues to help him figure out the mystery that he has to unravel. So, but I just couldn't get all the little things that moved the story forward. Everything was just kind of happening because I wanted it to happen, and I needed like some motivations for the thing, and I just couldn't. I didn't feel like I could spend the time on it. I wanted to be drawing. I wanted to be producing more Alpha Red, and that felt like I would have to sit down and just mull it over for like a month or two. And 2024 was just like slipping through my fingers, and I wanted to have Alpha Red in people's hands this year, So that is why. So let me see what Brian says here. Brian says, Silence of the Lambs, but for kids, it's going to be a tough nut to crack. Yeah. So it wasn't too dark. The Silence of the Lambs part was like the mystery of that possessed character, but it's what he had to find out. But that's a story for another time. But we are running out of time just because I misbooked this time because I am on a stream. If you're watching from YouTube, I put a link for my next stream that I'm a guest on at 9:30. I thought that Pacific time was 4 hours behind, so I scheduled this, and then I said I'll have a half an hour in between. But here we are. I'm an hour off, is what it comes down to. And this hour that I was going to give Ray turned into half an hour, and so unfortunately, we have to do it. Yeah. But we're gonna talk about. Hang on a second, because you are the. Hang on there. Brian wants to know, Ray, are you on Twitter?
No, I am not. That's one of the social medias I've just never made the leap to. I've been told it's an interesting app and it's a better way to communicate with people than other certain platforms, but not one I have. I'm available on Facebook. That's sort of the best way if anyone wants to get a hold of me.
Awesome. So yeah. Facebook, and I think that's the only place that I really talk to you.
Yeah, Facebook, and then I've got a phone number, but not a ton else.
Well, we're not going to give out your phone number on live air, and I don't know your phone number, so but we did want to touch base on your project for me. That's Alpha Red number 6, and in order to cut out all the technical difficulties that I had the other day, I'm down to one screen, so I can't see what the same screen that you're looking at, but I'm looking at the screen that we are presenting, and this is the project, guys. This is what you would get when you go to those links that are up in the chat. They're alpharedcomic.com will take you to the Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter has this. Let me see if I can pull it over here. The New Mutants 98 cover, homage cover. If you go to jamesq.net, you'll get an opportunity to support me with the Dark Knight Returns cover. That's Indiegogo. And if you go to Shop Alpha Red, you can pick up the Iron Man 150 homage cover from Fund My Comic. And these are close-ups of each one. This is the regular cover. You get a free regular cover with every with any one of those exclusive covers on any of the platforms. So I thought that was a neat way to, I don't know. Let's see, I can't see your, Ray, you're on Twitter. Cool. I can't see your good. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
great.
what that means. Yeah. But I'm super happy with how these covers turned out. Like, I got a special place in my heart for this New Mutants 98 cover because of Deadpool. Because I like Deadpool. I liked him before. I don't like him as much now. He's just kind of everywhere, and he's kind of annoying to me. I know everybody likes it now, but I liked him before when he was slightly less annoying.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I was just listening to one of my favorite comic book podcasts when I was at the gym yesterday, and they were doing an episode on Deadpool, and they kind of talked about how he does seem like a little oversaturated, or how they didn't care for some versions of him, how like there was a run where he kind of was just a jerk, and then that really caught on.
Yeah.
I haven't read most Deadpool comics. Like, I read the Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe one, and I thought it seemed a bit mean at the time when I was reading it, but there's definitely some good issues out there. My buddy Dark swears by the Deadpool comics he's read. So Deadpool's got some great comics, maybe not so great ones, but don't most characters?
Yeah, so I really fell in love with the character with the Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness run in 1997, and he was an okay character up until then. He was kind of mean. He was definitely a bad guy, and then that run on Deadpool really added a lot of the supporting cast that you see in the movies, and the humor that comes out of that is largely in part by originated from that series. I don't even know if it was a mini-series. I don't know if it turned into an ongoing series, but I was just like, wow, that's crazy. I think I actually picked it up. They did a reprint of it.
I believe it's a 4-issue miniseries, just based on literally the podcast I listened to yesterday.
Okay.
The Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness, like, wow. Like, the first image I saw of Deadpool, I think, is that one where, like, he's got sort of the like, he's got one hand on a sword, like one hand on a gun, and he's like sort of in a weird crouch, and it's Ed McGuinness art. Like, it's unmistakably Ed McGuinness.
Yeah. I mean, that's when I saw promo things of that series, and I was like, this guy, like, looks silly. Like, I thought Ed McGuinness's art looks silly, but it fit the book, and it really endeared me to Ed McGuinness's art. And then he shot up, from there. He was doing Superman. He was doing the Fighting American. He did all kinds of crazy stuff, and I picked up everything that Ed McGuinness did after Deadpool because I liked his artwork so much. And I was weirded out by his artwork. I thought it was a little hokey, a little childish, but after I saw it, there was something clean about it, and just over the top, like stocky, over the top muscles, and it was crazy. Let me see. Am I showing? What do we see here? Do you see this Kickstarter page? Or is it not showing?
A moment ago, but it's not anymore.
Okay. And let's hit that button. And come on. It's killing me because it's only on one screen, and I don't know if when I hit it and then I go over to move the stuff, add to stage. And
there we go. Kickstarter.
All right, here we go. So we are at 13 backers on Kickstarter. Oh, that's my alarm to make sure I don't miss the my next live stream at 9:30, and it's over at Master Swag King. If you're watching me on YouTube, I put a link in the description below. So, but this is where we're standing, and this is where we stand with Alpha Red number 6 on Kickstarter. This is $636. That is, I believe, 26%. If I hit this dashboard button, it'll tell me 25% to goal. And we got 2 backers over here on Indiegogo. That is 16% of goal. And on Fund My Comic, I believe we're at 27%. We got 3 backers on Fund My Comic. And awesome. This is the MSK show that I'm going to be on. It's Master Swag King is his name. So I am going to say goodbye. Whoops, I'm going to play the video to close it out. And then, so we're going to say goodbye, Mr. Ray. Thank you for popping on. This just means that we got to do it again. And then we got to have the hour-long show. And then you can get into all what you're reading now, what inspires you, and all that good stuff. How's that sound?
I've got something I'm reading right now just from, I managed to get myself finally a physical copy of Alpha Red.
Oh, yeah? How did you get a physical copy of Alpha Red?
From a kid in a comic.
Did I send it to you? Oh, yeah, Kid in a Comic. Guys, if you guys are not picking up a Kid in a Comic, Alpha Red, I had to reformat it, but you go to akidandcomic.com, and I think it's $50. You get 7 issues, and it's like a newspaper thing. And it's maybe I'll auction it off tomorrow, Brian, if you're still here. Not tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. Alternative Comics is having an auction, an art auction, and I'll throw those things in as bonuses. But yeah, that's awesome. I forgot about a Kid in a Comic. I'm glad you brought that up. All right. Well, Ray, I thank you for being here on short notice. And guys, we will see you next time. Hop over to Master Swag King's podcast live stream, and you can catch me there. I'm gonna hit the Kickstarter video, and then we'll see you next time. So until then, grace and peace. Thanks for hanging out. And it's gonna go. It should go. It's gonna go. Click for sound. I thought we were gonna not have any problems. Let me.
It worked for a sec.
Did it?
Yeah, it muted me. The video was starting. I think you're good. Just hit it.
After the explosive conclusion of Alpha Red Comics number 5 comes a bold new chapter in the hero's story. Having barely saved the world from Satan's army of robotic warriors, Wes, aka Alpha Red, hoped he was going to take some time off to recover and reflect on the path life is leading him down. But the time for reflection is short-lived when Alpha Red is called into action by a Supermax prison breakout. The supervillain, Dr. Disastro, has re-emerged and is enacting a plan to destroy the world by harnessing catastrophic weather events. Our champion is forced to jump right back into the fight, but will he perish in the face of this villain's master plan to turn the weather itself into a weapon? And what sinister hand is lurking behind this scheme? Find out in Alpha Red Comics number 6, A Recipe for Disastro. This issue guest stars Alpha Red's new gunslinging guardian angel, Wingman. The new dynamic duo will have to brave the storm as they discover what makes A Recipe for Disastro.
Peace.